Shout out to Music Connection Magazine.
Yeah.
These guys are awesome.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody? I'm Tania Estrada with Tea Time with Tania Estrada. And for today's episode, I have with you Tierra, the Latin American legends of Chicano rock. You guys don't know Tierra? Ask your parents. I'm sure you guys were probably conceived during one of their songs. Tierra has been around since 1972, a band that was founded by Rudy Salas and 4 other original members. And here with me today are members that have been with the band for spanning over 3 decades. And I also have the late wife of Rudy Salas, Joanna Salas, who now runs Tierra and helps manage the band as far as bookings and dates and all of their practices. So thank you guys so much for being here with me today.
All right.
All right, cool. So I have a few questions for you guys. I want you guys to introduce yourselves. I want you to give me your name and how many years you've been with Tierra. We'll start with you, Mario.
Hi, I'm Augustine Mario. I play guitar for Tierra, and I've been in the band for about 1.5 years.
Cool. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Did you guys haze him yet? Has he gone through the hazing
Oh, yeah.
process?
Big time.
Nightly.
All right. Cool. And then Roger?
Yeah, Roger Rivas played with the band late 80s, left in about 2005 and rejoined about a year ago.
Cool. And
Keyboards.
Keyboards. Very cool. And then?
Jeff Lewis, I've been a member since 1999, so about 24 years now. Yeah.
Cool. El Jefe.
And you play trumpet.
I play trumpet, yeah, that's true.
Yes.
My name is Will Rise Rivera, and I've been with the band as the lead vocalist since 2012. Glad to be here, and we plan on keeping it going.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And he's currently the lead vocalist. I just have to say, you totally get down with your backstreet moves up
Thank
there.
you so
like,
much.
You make it happen, Captain, for sure.
Hey, I'm Victor Cisneros, saxophone and vocals, and I've been with the group since 1991. So
Yeah.
it's been a nice run.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm Rudy Bovia, and I met Rudy back in 1971 when we first started getting the ideas together to put Tierra on the move, and then it was finally established in 72. I've got 33 years.
And?
Joanna Salas. I've been a Salas since 1997.
Yeah.
Rudy and I were together, married 23 years, but we're together for 26. So,
Yes. And again, always my condolences.
Thank you.
You know that.
Thank
you
you.
know that. All right. And then also, I want to talk about the albums and the CDs you've recorded with Tierra. Starting with you, Mario.
Well, currently I have recorded 0 albums with Tierra and 0 CDs. But what I did do is record on a song that Will wrote called Rudy, and it was a song that he put together, a beautiful song that he wrote in honor of Rudy Salas, and I'm the guitar player on that particular number. So, yeah, that's about it.
No, that's good.
No history.
Yeah, we,
Well,
we,
it's
need,
also
we need
to-
to release that soon. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also, too, the albums, but also the side projects you've done with Rudy. I forgot to say that. But yes, the side projects that you've done.
I happened to work with Rudy back in the 90s. I was in another band called the Q Band, and Rudy would hire us for certain events around San Fernando and stuff like that. I didn't know him well enough. I knew him through other friends that we knew, and those friends I knew well, and they knew him well. And so I never really got a chance to, our circles met, but never really formulated a circle within that circle. I don't know if that means anything.
just to
Yeah.
clarify, though, what he's talking about is we did a car show in San Fernando, and I think it was 1993 or 4,
Yeah.
around there, and we hired the Q Band
Yeah.
and stuff, and that's when we had a carolet out there and stuff. It was a really big event.
But Rudy was a legend, though, in Pacoima. I'm from Pacoima.
Uh-huh.
So he was already kind of, Tierra was already.
Yeah, famous
Famous,
back then.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. And then Roger?
So I think I started on Street Corner Gold,
Mm-hmm.
Latin Legends Live, played on Cafe East LA, Tierra dos Mundos.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rudy had me work with him on side projects that were also on later Tierra albums with a guitarist named Chris, I don't know his last name, and then JD,
Chris Diaz.
Chris Diaz, I'm sorry, Chris, and JD Musgrove, and worked with Rudy on projects, some Christmas projects with Lonnie Jordan, Bobby Espinoza from El Chicano, Lonnie Jordan from War. Worked on projects with Rudy with guys from the Jaguars, who did some work there. So yeah, Rudy would call me even when I left the band to work with him. Did projects called Eastside All Stars, and then the Professionals. So Rudy and I played together since the late '80s till.
So
he
then,
passed.
so you've been around for a long time, so you were more like a personal friend.
Are you saying I'm old or?
Well, I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
Sure.
Like in the 80s, like I think I was
Yeah,
three, you know?
yeah, exactly. Yes.
All right, and Jefe?
Oh, shoot, 99. I think the first thing I recorded on, there was a Tierra's Greatest Hits album.
Mhm.
I joined the band right after the Latin Legends live recording.
Mhm.
But, yeah, Rudy called a special session to add me to Vámonos Pamonte. I think.
Right.
So, yeah, so I'm
Right.
actually, I stuck in on, I think it's the Greatest Hits. Isn't that the Greatest Hits album that has that? Or is that the...
There's a couple of them that
Latin
has that
Legends
song out.
Yeah, anyway, so
Yeah.
that was my first recording project. But
Late
then
90s.
Two Worlds, Dos Mundos, I think was after that, right?
Yes.
Guys?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that album, I not only played the trumpet parts, but I mixed a whole bunch of that. I think maybe the entire album, almost the entire album, at my studio, Moonlight Studios. And,
Oh, cool.
did I master that album? One of the albums I mastered, but I've been on all the albums since then. So, guys, what is it? Dos Mundos,
On the right
Cafe
track.
LA.
Cafe East LA, right? Yeah, I
Solid Ground.
recorded a lot of that album too, on Solid Ground, on the right track.
Tierra, ya llegó.
Tierra, yeah, go. So yeah, a bunch of albums.
You said Tierra ya llegó. Perfect. I'm going to
Gracias.
want you to order my tacos
Gracias.
next time.
Claro que sí.
That's why I dubbed him Jefe Luis.
Right? Hilarious. All right, Will?
So myself, I was the featured vocalist on Tierra Ya Llegó. That was the album that we did a few years after I joined the band. There wasn't much recorded before then that I was a part of, but I also was a lead vocalist in the band Professionals that Roger and I and Rudy and also Victor was a part of. And actually we're planning to bring back a version of that band.
Right.
We've been doing a lot of great gigs and we're looking forward to that as well. And I also wanted to mention that the song Rudy that I wrote, I also had a co-writer with me. His name's Brian Randall Smith.
Oh,
And I just wanted to mention
Credit
that
where
because
credit's due.
he
Yep.
did do the composition on the piano for that and produced
Did a
the
great
first
job.
version of that.
Okay.
So
You were
Just wanted
also
to
the
mention
song
that.
that Merry Christmas, My Love.
I also am the
There you go.
vocalist on Merry Christmas, My Love. We've been getting a lot of great response for that, and I'm
Huge.
so proud every October, November, December when the song comes
Even
back
January.
and we're able to
Yeah.
perform it.
Right.
It's too bad we don't perform Christmas songs all year. 'Cause I
Right.
think it's a great tune.
Yeah.
And I hope that people pick up on it and it becomes a classic for
That's
people.
that's a great Christmas song.
Exactly.
All right, cool. All right. Victor.
You know, I've pretty much recorded on a lot of the, actually most of the albums that Roger mentioned, because Roger actually joined like 89, right? I joined in 91, and I think it was Street Corner Gold that was the first one, and then from that point, all the other albums that you guys mentioned, those are the ones that I played on. And just did a lot of numerous side projects with Rudy over the years. I can't even remember the names of them. But yeah, it's just a long history of 32 years, and
Don't worry, we'll be
Yeah,
making
yeah,
a
you know,
flow chart with
right,
all the
yeah, you know,
albums.
you're gonna need
Right.
With
yeah,
everywhere, we're gonna be doing like little X marks the spot all
because I was
over,
thinking,
so-
yeah, I was thinking back and looking at all these albums, and I go, oh my God, I played on so many. You know, I don't know, it's like over 10 or some.
Right.
But yeah, so it was just, it's been a wonderful experience, these 30, and of course traveling the world and seeing all of these fans that Tierra has. We went to Japan in 1990, I think it was 93.
Wow.
That was a beautiful experience. The people there were, were wonderful to us. Matter of fact, we met a couple of East LA, Japanese East LA guys that were, they were from City Terrace because they were exchange students, and they, as soon as we mentioned, I think Rudy usually would say, is there anybody out there that lives in East LA? Because my brother needs a ride. And so he used that joke in Japan. He says, is there anybody out there that, that lives in East LA? Because my brother needs a ride. And these two Japanese guys in the corner, they were dressed, they had their Pendletons on, they had their khakis on it, and they yelled City Terrace. It was just, we were like, it was amazing. It was, so obviously the music and the fashion and everything has touched all parts of the world, and that's the beauty of the music, especially Chicano rock, Chicano music.
Yeah,
it really has. Yeah, so.
I'd like to add to that they have a Tierra car club in Tokyo, Japan.
That's right.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
Occasionally they'll show up in the States here and they'll come up and say hi to us and take pictures with us.
Right.
Stop by the studio.
Yeah, when we used to have the studio, they would make it a point every year to go there. And we give them a tour. A couple of years we went out to dinner with all of them and stuff. They actually had a Christmas party that one time, remember?
Yeah.
It was nice.
Japanese cholos.
That's right.
All right.
I go back to the first two albums, actually the vinyls. The first one was called Tierra, like the group. Second one was Stranded. And then I left the group at the end of '78. When I came back in '97, I was part of the projects that Rich was talking about. The On the Right Track, Latin Legends Live, what's it, the other ones?
Dos Mundos.
Dos Mundos.
On Solid Ground.
On Solid Ground, yeah. So from there now we're just waiting to move even forward.
Yeah.
Continue with that.
That's a long history, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, I want to get into a little bit more personal now because there's, I know that you guys have been going through a lot. And I do have to say this because I found this really interesting. When I hosted for you guys at the Swap Meet, I had fans come up to me and tell me and start talking about your guys' personal business. And I thought it's so odd that the fans even know what's going on out there. And it's not fair to you guys at all. So I want to talk about the personal knowledge of conversations that you had with Rudy before all this went down, in the sense. What do you remember Rudy saying about the band? Who remembers what Rudy's wishes were for the band?
You're looking at
Roger.
me?
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I left in 2005, but even before that, and I had a lot of conversations over tequila shots, over rehearsals, over being on the road. Rudy's intention was never to have his band turned over to, for example, his son. He would have certainly told me that. And I'll be the first to say, if he would have ever told me that, I would be fighting 100%
To honor
to
that.
happen, to
Yeah.
honor that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a conversation that Rudy had with me and Steve Follimere, he's passed, the bass player, about, what happens with Tierra afterwards. And Rudy made it clear that, he had other plans and it wasn't, revolving around his son, and that his wife was definitely going to be involved. So we're talking about 2005 and before, and then beyond that, I'm sure there were additional conversations with these guys about what Rudy wanted to do that I just wasn't around.
Yeah. Anyone else want to jump in on that?
Oh, I will.
Oh.
I'm going to piggyback on that.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
when I say they, it's the family, filed for trademark with behind Rudy's back.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a situation that took 5 years out of our lives. And it was asked early on to Rudy in an email, Rudy, what's going to happen to Tierra upon your passing? And Rudy answered that with a proposal. And in that it states, I want Joanna, my wife Joanna, and Steve to work together, a 60-40 split. And without going into all the details and stuff, because Rudy wanted Steve to withdraw his trademark, and obviously he didn't, and we had to oppose it, and so on and so forth. But it says it right there. I mean, he told, a lot, not just members of whatever, but it's just a natural thing. I've always worked with Rudy since I met him, and that's how we met, because I was working, in the industry, and then I met him, and we were partners for a year before we ended up getting together and stuff. So it is what it is, you know?
Yeah, well, I want to call that side, it's funny, if, you know, I don't want to say their names, you know, but
Right.
I'm going to call them the terrorists. So, the terrorist, the female terrorist, I can't even pronounce her name because that's not the way you spell Daphne. It's Daffy? Is that like Daffy Duck? Like, okay. All right. So, well, that's just the way I interpreted it. I've never seen that spelling, but she likes beef, huh? She likes smoke. Like, she likes to sue people. Like, that's what she likes to do. Those type of people that like to sue people, you got to watch out for those people. They're very manipulative, and they love to gaslight. And you guys know me. I love to find gaslighters, and I love to read letters, especially letters from dead people. So right here, I have a letter from Rudy that he wrote to David, his son, that you just said, that he didn't want him to have the band. So these are Rudy's words. David, unfortunately, the fact that I still love you as a father and am very proud of you for what you have done with your life is exceeded by the extreme disappointment and disgust with the way you have treated me, your own father. Who in the hell do you think you are to threaten your own father with legal action, again and again, with no hesitation or self-analysis or even consideration of the consequences of your threats and your actions? You have put it in your mind that you are the patriarch, quote unquote, of the Salas family, and you are going to take care of all family business like some kind of mob boss. You seem to forget that I am not only part of this family, but I am the true patriarch of the Salas family, and I'm your dad. Get it out of your head that you speak for or represent everybody in this family. I was there for my parents, your grandparents, in their golden years, and the last years of their lives as much or possibly more than anyone else in the Salas family. I raised you and Rita the right way, and I was always there for both of you. I don't deserve to be treated this way, especially by you. You have treated me as an outcast and as a perpetrator. Who the hell are you to make that decision? As far as Stevie and the Tierra trademark is concerned, you know you guys were completely wrong. But you just couldn't bear to simply apologize. You had to save face, so you threw in more attacks and threats mixed in with a half-ass awkward attempt at an apology. Then Richard sends me a message accusing me of creating a ploy to screw Stevie over. If you had second thoughts about the deal, you shouldn't have signed it. I'm sick of it. I didn't see anybody helping me out when I was going through all that shit with Stevie. Once again, none of you had any business getting in the middle of this trademark issue. Stevie and I would have worked it out a long time ago. Ironically, I am the one in this family that has truly been there for my brother throughout the years. The fact that Stevie has no kids or doesn't use a computer is his own decision. I don't know where you were going with that, but that's nobody's responsibility but his own, unless you are an enabler. You think that you're doing something noble, but you're not. Your evil doings hurt him more than helped him. After sending me that ugly email, I saw a post promoting a new song that you released. You used an old track with me and Stevie doing backup vocals, and in that promo you called me Pops. David, there was a time that I would have been so proud of that. But you've called me all kinds of disgusting names before that. You said that I'm not your father anymore. You threatened and attacked me and my wife. You can't have it both ways, David. I'm either a scum or Pops. David, when was the last time you called or texted me just to say, "How are you doing, Dad? Are you feeling okay?" And don't you dare throw in the royalties that you collect for Stevie and me. That is not a personal gesture. That is a lucrative business that you have and you profit from out of monies that we earned and worked for, which, by the way, we still haven't gotten. And while I do appreciate and need the money, it is not something done from the heart. I heard that radio interview you did. That's disingenuous. David, the horrible words, accusations, and attacks that you left me in your last rant a few months ago are like daggers that stick to my heart and my stomach. I don't deserve any of that. No father does. Those words will stay with me to my death, not because there any truth to your accusations, but because they are not true. And I just hope I have the moral courage to forgive you. And that is from Rudy Salas,
That was dated August of 2020,
right? A few months before
right before he passed
or a
away.
few, like that's 4 months before he passed
Right.
away. What do you guys have to say to that?
I had never heard that. That's powerful.
That's very powerful, and it's all true. Rudy, they had a malicious campaign against him, trying to destroy him and Tierra. They've cost us all a lot of money and a lot of gigs. They're ruining our reputation, not to mention their attacks immediately after his passing against Joanna. It was classless. It was tasteless. There was no reason to attack someone when they're mourning their husband's passing. And this made the next couple of years extremely difficult for her to pick up the pieces and do the job that she needed to do, which Rudy had groomed her for several years before his passing. Rudy Salas was a true, honest, good man. He was my friend. And what they continue to do to him is disgusting. And I haven't spoken up because I thought in the beginning this was not my fight. But this is my fight.
I know.
So
I know it's hard, but thank you so much for your words. And this is real, you guys. This is really real, and this is really happening, and it's not fair. Look at this band. This band is family together. They've had years together. They've traveled the world together. And if you guys know anything about bands, relationship-wise, it's like a marriage. It's not just like any regular friendship. They spend hours together creating music for the world. And to have people that are attacking them for money, it always comes down to money, you guys.
And let's make it clear, there is no money. Rudy was not a rich man. He didn't hoard or collect or keep in secret all these millions of dollars that people think that Rudy had. We lived gig to gig to gig, but we were happy. And for people to come out and say what I read on Facebook was, she's in it for the money. She's greedy. That's all they want is just, these men are Tierra, but yet people want to say Joanna's Tierra. It's not Joanna's Tierra, it's Tierra. I'm a part of one person of 9, or 10 I should say, that are just trying to move forward and keep doing what we've been doing all these years. I can only speak of the last 26 years I was with Rudy. And just keep moving forward without any of this crap. And without getting into the particulars because we are still in court, but it's not what you guys think. We're in court, they want to put us in probate court. There's nothing to probate. So I can't get into any more detail than that with that, but at the same time, it's ridiculous. And this is the truth. This is what you hear about me on Facebook is totally made up by people that just don't like me. And that's okay. They don't need you. But I'm just trying to work. I'm a mom. I have my kids. I have grandkids. One of my grandsons that lives with me is autistic. So my life isn't that easy. But yet, they want to attack me. Well, this is the face you're attacking.
This is Tierra.
This is Tierra.
This is Tierra. How do you guys, and now that, you guys even said it, Rudy groomed Joanna to take over Tierra eventually, because, it's Rudy Salas's band, and as you guys know, in California, whoever dies, the spouse is left with everything. So the band is hers, but she doesn't take it as it's hers. This is her family. This is everybody's. Of course, not including me, but it's everybody's here at this table is Tierra. Since Rudy's passing, how did you guys feel when Rudy passed? Like, what was your feeling? I know that this is a hard question. Was anybody expecting this?
no, absolutely not.
Well, he was under a lot of stress, I have to say, because of what you just read about. He was, we all look at him and go, man, this is hard. This is hard on Rudy. Yeah,
He was dealing with
so
this.
we felt the stress that he was under, and we were concerned for him.
Our last performance at
yeah.
Pava, he really showed his stress there. I talked to him after
Yeah, he said
the
he
gig.
couldn't hear quite right?
No.
And when I talked to him, he was really frustrated. I said, "What's wrong, Rudy?" He says, "We sound like shit." I said, "Rudy, we haven't played in a long time, and I think we did a great job considering we haven't rehearsed and we're COVID and the whole thing." He did a great job, but he was really, and I think it was more than just because of he didn't feel the performance was good. It was just like Jeff said,
He was
the
a
stress. He
Well,
wasn't feeling
I
good.
can speak on that. The last year, well, Rudy always had, for years, he always had something what you call night terrors. And they just became worse and worse when he was stressed. And the last year, I could physically see something was happening with him. I took pictures of his face just so he can see what I'm looking at. And there was nights where he would sleep on the couch and I'm upstairs, but me and my daughter would sleep with our doors open so we can hear him going into an attack. And he would go into this deep growling sound and he couldn't wake up, but yet he can see us. The last time, and I recorded him on it because I wanted to send it to his family to show them this is what's happening to him. And he couldn't wake up. And I'm Rudy, and my daughter had to get 911 on the line as she's telling them, I think he's having a heart attack. I think he's having a stroke. And his eyes are rolling back. He's looking and he's like, this is the word, and it's going to sound weird, but he's like, and he's trying to talk to me. And I'm standing there and I'm in tears. I'm saying, Rudy, we're calling 911. Hold on. He's there. He's looking at me, and then he goes like this, and he flips me off. And I'm like, oh my God, Cressy, he just flipped me off. And he snapped out of it. And he goes, I did that so I can make you laugh, so I can tell you I'm okay. I just need to get out of it. But that's what stress caused. But he was aware of him being in that mode. But to me, it looked like he was going through something more. So, yes, stress was a big part of it. And COVID took him, but stress added to it.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'm sure you guys know, when you don't sleep good and you keep days and days and days without good sleep, it adds up. And eventually it can cause problems like that,
Right.
like having a heart attack in the middle especially, and it weakens your immune system. So, again, I'm so sorry.
You know, it's hard for me to talk about this because I really don't. I mean, our close friends and family knows, but the fans don't. And this is the truth. That's exactly what's happening. And I know they never wanted me to come clean or come out with any of this because it doesn't put them in a good light. I'm not saying that they are 100% responsible for his stress because he lived a stressful life. You know, he was managing 9 guys. He was responsible to put food on their table. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, with me and the kids, and, you know, so there was a lot of stress going on in his life. And he was always the type of person that wanted to put out new music. Rudy was never just stagnant. He wanted to do something new, and that's what he did. That's what made him so successful. But he just couldn't take it anymore, you know?
Let me just add on. A lot of people started hearing from Rudy through the stress, but putting this in context, Rudy was not the type of person that would complain or tell people about his problems. Right. He was proud, he was focused, he handled things. And so it became really strange when, for example, I'm on a call with him, he's in the hospital, he's having all these problems, and he's just unloading. And I'm not the only one that he unloaded to on the
Right.
stress and the problems he was having. A lot of friends even outside of the band that he started, this had to have been such a difficult challenge and ordeal for him that he was actually sharing with, just moving past how Rudy typically is. It must have really been painful because normally he had a higher pain tolerance and he would just handle stuff.
Right.
So when it got to this point where his son's, I don't know what point of the lawsuit or the trademark, and this exchange and this disrespect, it really got to him, where he couldn't just keep it to himself. He was just trying to find some way to process it.
I think COVID played a part, but he kind of died of a broken heart in a way, you know.
Yeah.
Because of the family members turning and people trying to complete their own agendas on what they thought was the band. And I want to say this: Tierra is a phenomenon. Tierra is a rare DNA for any band to come out of the way that they did and have the kind of fans that we have, because we got the best fans.
Aren't they?
In
They're
the world.
amazing.
They come out, they show up strong every night. They're louder than me most of the time, and that's loud. And so we live for that. That's what every band wants when they step to a stage, is for these fans to adore them like that. So
To bounce off that, what Will is saying is exactly true, but Rudy kept the band going, and they worked with major promoters, and they're still working with these major promoters. You're going to see these guys in the big arenas. You're going to see them at the Alan Beck shows for the Love Jam. You're going to see them at the Bobby D Present shows. These are the people that believe in what we're all doing. If there's any confusion, for the people that say there's two tierras, there's not two tierras. There's one tierra, and they want to be this tierra, and it's not going to happen.
Correct. There's Tierra, and then there's the terrorists. So just so you guys know.
That's a quote from Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy named
An LA Times interview from years ago.
Well, yeah, and you know what? It's basically.
You said it in a joking way, but
Right.
you kind of meant it too.
It's basically, Rudy didn't want any of this. He loved his family. Rudy loved his son, he loved his daughter, he loved all his grandkids, and he wanted peace and harmony. I tried, but there's just other things that just didn't work out. So, as far as David and Rita is concerned, my heart goes out to them because they lost their father, but they have to realize I lost my husband.
Yes. And another thing I want to add to the fans, Tierra loves you guys. You guys are amazing. Without you guys, there would be no Tierra. But one of the beautiful traditions that you've continued on since then, which is where I got to, host you guys for the first time. And it's actually, it's been a bucket list every time I drove by the 605 freeway, is at the Santa Fe Spring Swap Meet. They perform there, and if you can fathom this, $2 gets you in to see Tierra. And the reason they do this, it's fan appreciation, because they know that there's a lot of people that can't afford the $50, $70, $100 ticket prices, but the neighborhood comes out and they support. I have never seen so many people in a wheelchair rolling in, like just so happy with their micheladas right there. I mean, it was such a beautiful thing, and you guys are going to continue doing that,
Exactly.
right?
We have a good relationship with the people at the swap meet and stuff, and they look forward to hiring us every year. We used to do it 2 times a year. This year we're doing it 4. And this is for the fans.
Yep. And so the Santa Fe Swap Meet has upgraded their area, and it's now like a full-on event center, which is really beautiful. Really nice.
There was a comment that was made, and it wasn't a good intention, but they called us the swap meet band. Well, guess what? We are the swap meet band, and we are proud to be the swap meet band. And there's not a lot of people. Mm-hmm. A lot of people want to get into the swap meet to play, and they're they pick and choose who they want. Mm-hmm. So good luck on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got no problem with going to the swap meet.
No.
I like picking up my eyelashes like the very next girl. They're gonna go see Tierra. 5 for 10. 5 for 10.
One other thing, if they don't mind, I mention is that the phenomenon of Tierra is that certain men of a certain age who are from Southern California. Mm-hmm. They claim this band as their own. Right. They want ownership. The fans own Tierra. They feel I went to a little city in New Mexico, way out in the middle of nowhere. Rudy and I were there, and I think there was a Moose Lodge. Mm-hmm. And they said, hey, these guys have prepared food for Tierra at the Moose Lodge. You guys got to go over there after the concert. Mm-hmm. And I had just been at Tierra for about 1.5 years, and I met a little old guy there. He was an elderly grandfather, and he pulled out a Tierra album, and he showed it to me, City Lights album, and he looks at me and he says, Tierra is my life! And that's when I realized how powerful Tierra fans are and what Tierra means to them.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's so important to us. That's why they are part of our family.
Right.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's yours, but you ain't going to take over, homie.
Yes.
Come on
exactly.
now. We're the band, and we're going to continue that.
If I may rant just a little bit.
Of course.
One thing that sets us apart is that we practice. And that's something that Rudy Salas always had us every week. We showed up to wherever we could afford to, rent to.
We don't practice, we rehearse. You practice at home.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Good point. We rehearse as a band. Every 8 bars that you listen to has been gone over for 2 hours in rehearsal. Okay? Nothing, with Rudy Salas, nothing's left to chance, believe me.
Almost every Tuesday for 10 years.
Yes, and
Joanna, I know that for a long time you were Rudy's right hand, as most women are. When a man is running something so huge, you got to have someone that backs you up.
Right.
And I know that you are now working with them as far as managing and taking care of all the things. How do you guys feel that she's doing? What kind of a job is she doing?
She's doing an excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what Rudy used to do, and which was so much. He wore so many hats, and we've all went overboard endorsing Rudy, but he really deserved that because he kept us working. Every morning he was up on the phone. Every day we'd get a call. Hey, we're planning this next week. We're planning that next week. What do you think about coming down here and doing this free gig? Whatever it was.
Yeah.
And you know what? We agreed to it all because it always begat us more work. And Rudy Salas kept us working. You know, I worked a lot over the 10 years with Rudy Salas, and grateful for all those shows. And not just small nightclubs either, big venues, tens of thousands of people. And a lot of these musicians want to get in on gigs that have tens of thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
And so they'll do just about anything to get there. That's why it's such a competition for this small spot in the Chicano music scene, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I think, like Will says, with everything that was laid on Joanna's lap, yeah, Rudy was grooming her and getting her prepared, but I'm sure he didn't cover all the details because there was a lot to learn
Right.
for her to get into that. And then on top of that, with him passing and dealing with the family issues and trying to keep the band going.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Oh.
how can anybody really handle that after losing your loved one?
Rudy had help. He always had like a road manager helping him. But truthfully, what I found out, without mentioning any names whatsoever, it's hard to trust people in this industry. So when Rudy passed away, a lot of people bailed on him, and they bailed on us. And it's only because they wanted the position of what I was doing. It was only kind of a natural transition for me. It wasn't like I was booking for the job. I wasn't like going and telling people, hey, I'm the owner of Tierra, or anything like that, or I even run it. But every time Rudy would make a decision, he would come to me, talk to me about it. I'd give him my opinion, and ultimately the decision would be his, of course. But working with these guys, especially with Bub is the leader of the band, and we bounce ideas off each other. If I get an idea or if something comes to me, I'll go to Bub right away. What do you think? And then we utilize whatever we can to make it happen. My job is to deal with the promoters and the marketing. Bub's job is to deal with the band and keep things flowing. Victor's job is to make sure that the sets are going right and to bounce off the ideas of new music and and Will's job is the lead singer to keep it going. Everybody has a job here. It's not just me. I do want to mention though, Mario, I'm so very, very proud, and I think we're lucky to have you as a guitar player. There has to be something said about that because you take the time to hear Rudy's playing, you listen to Rudy's playing, and you try to emulate his sound. And that right there, when you're playing Lady in the Moonlight for the first time and I heard Rudy, I was in tears. I'm always in tears, but I was really in tears, and you just you soared from there, so thank you. Thank you for that.
It's been an honor.
It's beautiful. So I know that you're writing a book and you're almost done with it.
Yes.
And I know that everybody's going to want to read this.
Oh my gosh. Nobody knows the full details of what Rudy and I went through. It wasn't all bad though. I mean, I'm going to talk about the exciting things that we did and meeting someone like Rudy when I was 28 years old and and he was in his early 40s and stuff and it was just a trip. I mean, the people that were there like Bub and Rachel, they saw us and they grew with us and stuff and it's a family. It's a second family. So people fight, people, we all have a good time. We get drunk sometimes or used to, and stuff like that. So it's a family, but it's a business. And this is something that Rudy started. For 48 years, he did this. And upon his passing, he did not want it to stop. He did not want these guys to stop doing what they're doing. He wanted them to keep going. And he trusted me to make sure that it did. So that's my role here. That's
Yes.
Yeah. What I wanted to add, what she just said now too, is Rudy wouldn't have wanted his former members who he worked with, and he supported them, giving them work, to go out and join a band against his band.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't have wanted that.
No, it's
You know.
it's a personal thing,
Yeah.
and I know I hear people talk, and if they think that no one's telling us what they're doing or saying, we hear it, but to me it's like c'est la vie, good luck.
I'm going to tell you, okay, in this business, I know a lot of people. And I've always said that if I didn't meet someone, it's because God was protecting me. And I'll have to tell you, I have never met that other side, ever. I think one time we were supposed to cross paths and it never happened. And I'm glad that it didn't.
Right.
Because I hear that they're not nice. They like to bully people into taking sides. And this isn't high school, people. This is life. And I also want to mention, we've used the word grooming around here a lot. This is what grooming really is,
Yes,
people.
that's right.
It's not how you guys are taking
Negative
grooming
connotation.
to be. You take someone, you see a potential in them, and you give them your skills so hopefully they can take those with them and do something. Is that not right? That's grooming.
That 2 weeks before Rudy passed away, he told me out of the blue, I'm preparing you. And I'm
That's a
looking
better
at
word.
him like,
Like that.
what the heck are you talking? I don't want to deal with your family. I don't want to deal with this and that and whatever. He goes, I trust you. You got it. You got this, babe. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Not knowing 2 weeks later he's going to pass away. So I know he trusts me. And I'm not saying that I know everything in this business, but I can tell you what, I do learn, and people do trust me, and I do ask for help when I need it, and we're working with some phenomenal people. Thank you to Alan Beck, thank you to Bobby D, junior and senior,
Amen.
they have our back. And everybody else that really don't want to come forward, but they do agree with what we're doing, and they do help. Thank you.
Don't
That's all.
forget Dale Berger.
Dale Berger and
forget
Jason
him.
Jacobs, the
Yeah.
cruise people, and Art LeBeau's people, Jomo, thank you guys.
Jomo!
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for believing in us and believing in what we do, and to be easy to work with. That's what makes a good relationship, is when you're able to just see, meet in the middle and work things out. And at one point I thought I would have that with other people, but it didn't work out, so there's nothing I can do, really. So
Well,
moving forward.
I think moving forward, I think that's beautiful, and I can see that the band really backs you up,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they really trust you, and I feel the energy of the family unit together. So let's go ahead and start talking about the good things that Tierra has coming. So the Latin Legends, tell me about that.
Well, Latin Legend started, it was an idea by somebody that kind of just left it, but it was an idea that Rudy had initially, and it was bringing together the music of Malo, Tierra, El Chicano, and was the Midnighters on there?
Midnighters.
Yeah.
Midnighters.
Yeah.
So what started out as an idea and just like touring concerts turned into an album. So it's a double album that you can still available for at Thump Records, and we're bringing it back. So Latin Legends is now owned by Bobby D Productions, and the shows that he does annually is called Latin Legends. So the basis of Latin Legends is Tierra and Malo at this point, and we're adding other Latin Legends. And the show that's coming up June 10th, it's a dynamic show. When they told me the lineup initially before they even released it, I was like astonished. So we have Tower of Power, heading it. Sheila E. joining us. Zap, of course, is a favorite, and everyone says, oh, they're not Latin. Well, guess what? They are Latin in their heart, and they put on a great show, and every Chicano I know
They're
loves...
supported by Latinos.
Exactly.
Yes.
They love Zap. MC Magic, he's one that's on this show, and he's a fan favorite, I don't know who else is on this one, but, this is what we're doing, and the tour... we have some other things coming up, some other surprises, and it's all positive.
So the Latin Legends on June 10th, where's that going to be
At the Microsoft Theater.
Ooh, we going fancy. Ooh. And then you have the cruise coming up in May, right?
No, I'm going on that cruise.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going on the cruise, but the guys will be going. I don't know if it's going to be this coming September or next September, but they will be back on the cruise.
Oh, I hear those are a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Big fun, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So what is your vision for Tierra?
I think our vision is, like we've been talking, is to keep the name going, to reach out. Will has brought up numerous times that we need to get some new material out there, which we'll have to start working on, and just to show the public that Tierra isn't fading out. We're getting stronger, and we're going to remain strong.
Yeah. Well, one thing about Tierra is this is kind of one-stop shopping, because we have producers, we have writers, we have incredible soloists, we have mastering engineers. I have a studio, Jeff has a studio. We've been writing, doing outside projects, and we're currently trying to bring all our projects together so that we can put forth records in the future. One of the things that Rudy did for many years was he groomed younger artists and brought them out, like J.D. Musgrove, young buck who's got some talent coming up real soon.
Yeah.
Just coming into manhood, you know what I'm saying? So this guy's got a future, and we'd like to do the same thing, continue working with other artists, other bands, other people who don't have producers and writers and a really strong horn section and a really strong rhythm section that can help them achieve their dreams. So as we become the elder statesmen, as I say, in the music game, we want to share what we have and all the talent and all the things that we've learned over the years. We want to share it with the youngsters, the next generation.
Right.
And this is going to push Tierra. Now, that was one beautiful thing, is that word legacy. Boy, that is really something that we want, a legacy. Some people are using that in a different way.
They co-opted.
Yeah.
But, and that's what we're all about. We got some really great talent here, and we just want the world to see it. We want the world to hear our new music and hear our writers and our producers and our skilled people here. If there's any mad singers and rappers and musicians out there who want to be a piece of something, who want to be a part of something new that's developing into something that hasn't happened before, come see us.
You know,
Because we got you.
you guys are speaking my language, because remember I was just telling you guys this. So I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I am the Latina Weird Al Yankovic. So
Okay.
and
I love it.
And I could
Great
use
play.
some backup. You know?
There you go.
So who knows? Maybe you guys can help me with "No te metas con mi fupa, fupa." All right, cool.
The bigger the panza, the better the chanza.
Yeah. We're gonna have to talk about that. We're gonna have to talk. I will speak with your manager.
The one thing about Rudy is he always tried to be inclusive, and he always told, if anybody asked him, what was your message to the next generation, and he would always say, follow your dreams. Follow your dreams, keep it going. And you have guys here that can guide you, you know, at whatever capacity, you know. But that's what this is all about. It's not about us trying to fight for something that we already have. We are Tierra, you know, and it's all a positive thing. So my message to everybody out there is, don't believe the hype. There's no big fight happening here. It just, things will work out. Things will work out. I can guarantee that. And my promise to Rudy is, I said I was going to do this. My promise to Rudy is I will make sure it works out. Everything.
Yep, it will. With a team like this, you can't fail.
Right.
You
Well, I
can't.
want to mention too that we're missing Tony Banda here.
Right. He's not
Our
feeling
bass
well.
player is missing from this interview, and it would have been a lot funnier had he been here.
Right.
I want to give a shout out to our new drummer, Joe Mendez.
Oh my God.
Our
Yes.
percussionist, Phil Ruiz.
That's right.
You know, let me tell you something. Those guys, they were given to us by somebody else that's doing their thing. But he told me, hey, you know what? Get this guy, and they're going to be perfect. And at first we were kind of apprehensive because they're younger. But let me tell you, and I'm going to say this, and don't take this the wrong way, guys, but they lit a fire up these guys' ass. And these guys are now sounding like they used to sound before. And keep in mind that I'm not the only one that lost Rudy. We all lost Rudy. And everyone grieved in their own way, and they're probably still grieving like me. But Phil and Joe are two guys that we needed. And thank you. If you guys
Glad
are
to have
listening,
them.
you're watching, thank you guys.
Yeah.
You know?
We played at the Toyota Arena a while back, and we were sitting there back in the green room, and Philip says, "Man, I've been listening to Tierra," because his dad had a band called Kickback, and they actually opened for us.
Right.
And Philip says, "Man, took me 47 years to get in this band." That's how he had his birthday. And not in the
Actually,
band.
I think what happened was you guys were playing somewhere, and Billy brought him up when he was a little when Phil was a little kid. I think he was like 11 years old or
I
something.
think so, yeah.
And Billy brought him up to play percussion with the band, and now here he is.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're going to be closing this out, but before we do, I want to say that it has been a pleasure interviewing you guys, meeting with you guys, and getting a little bit personal here. But I do have to say, I'm sure everybody's like, why the fuck is Tania there? Okay, I have to thank you for this. So many years ago, Lou Pizarro from Operation Repo introduced us. I had just started as an actress. And those were hard times, not having a sugar daddy. So I had to get dressed for red carpets, and I didn't have the money. And Lou hooked us up, and Joanna, you had the most beautiful shop in front of Chicano Rock Studios.
We were Chicano Rock Studios.
Yes, it was the most. You have the most amazing taste in clothes, accessories, jewelry. I mean everything. And back then I was probably about 30 pounds lighter, and you were like, oh my God, you're like a Barbie doll. And she would dress me, and then I had one job, and that was to make it to the event, take a picture, not throw up, and make it back and return everything. Return everything the next day.
Don't pull off the tags.
Right? Don't pull up the tags. And I would bring back everything the next day.
Right.
And I wasn't cheap. I would buy a few things. I'd be like, okay, I can afford the purse, and I would get a few things. But Joanna, I just want to tell you, thank you so much for believing in me, giving me the opportunity. You made me look like a superstar, and I could have never afforded it. And you have a lot to do with my success without you knowing it. To put me out there in front of the whole world to say, this is Tania Estrada, it worked.
Right.
It worked.
Oh my God.
So yeah. So thank you. So any closing messages to the fans, because I have one in particular.
Well, could she do that for everybody in the band?
I can't dress you guys. You guys are old already.
Wait, hold on. You know what? Now
Okay.
I
She
have
used
the
to dress
ability.
Chris.
Oh, you have the ability.
Now, through a partner of mine, Matic Apparel, he actually does custom clothing. Would you guys like custom jackets? Tierra jackets? Shall we talk about this?
Yeah, we can talk
Let's
about
talk,
it.
let's talk about this. Let's talk about this.
Jackets.
This
Wow.
guy, Matic Apparel, he's so funny. He's a black entrepreneur that opened up his 2-story building over on Pico and Maine, right? And I remember I was there. He was making a dress for me, and then I saw this jacket. I'm all, what the fuck is that? And he goes, oh, they ordered jackets for Los Bukis. I said, what?
Bookies, wow.
Those are jackets for Los Bukis? He's like, yeah, I have to make for. I'm like, you're making jackets? He's like, who is Los Bukis? I'm like, oh my God, you don't even know. Oh my God, dude. And the dude, I'm like, that's like the U2 in Latino of the 80s,
right.
okay?
Yeah.
Los Bukis. Any more messages to the fans?
Hey, Tanya, can we give a shout out? Behind the scenes, a lot of people don't see.
Oh, everybody
People
back there.
here.
Yes. We want to give a shout out to your beautiful
Sure.
wife.
Absolutely. My beautiful wife, Vanessa.
Hi,
Over there
Vanessa.
running the
Thank you
camera.
so much.
She just to let you know, she helps me out a lot in all the gigs. If we have to fly out or whatever, she's always there. If I need anything, so.
Yes.
Thank you, Vanessa. I want to give a shout out to Danny over there.
Yeah, Danny.
Right.
Over there.
Yeah, it's gonna be up on his YouTube, by the way. Next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Right here, I want to give a shout out to Mark Aro. Mark Aro, he does our security. He's one of Rudy's best friends. He trusted Rudy. Rudy trusted him, and his wife Diana, same thing. They were our road dogs. Whenever we take a trip and
For
stuff,
sure.
we'd go and
We're there.
they were there for us and stuff. And he's still there with us,
Yeah.
and he's still doing my security. So Mark, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody.
We want to say
And I want to shout out to my wife, Rachel.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's,
Rachel.
Yeah, like Joanna said, she's been at the band since '97 with me, and supported the group and always been there for us. You know.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. You know, I bounce off ideas with her, and she'll tell me, Joe. Joe, be nice.
She's the voice of reason.
Yeah, we've been through a lot. It makes me laugh because she tells me, Joe, oh my God, what happened? You weren't like that before. You know, I've grown, I've matured. Even Rudy used to tell me, babe, thank you. You know, you got to sometimes just.
Well, I just want to mention that what you're seeing on the camera now, and one bearded man,
Right.
and Joe and Phil. Also, these are the faces of Tierra.
Yes.
If you see anybody else claiming that they're Tierra, and you don't see these faces there,
No, it's not
Yeah.
true.
those are imposters.
Yeah, that's not Tierra.
Yeah.
So, also too, we want to give a shout out to Beat Garage for having us here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And we also want to thank Music Connection, and we want to thank Chicano Hollywood. I do have a message to the fans. It's something that I found that I thought was so interesting. And it's a quote about character assassination. And I'm going to close with this. What is the source of character assassination? Jealousy. Jealousy originates from limitation. A jealous person sees you as having a gift, skill, charisma, talent, or ability that he or she does not have. The mindset of a jealous person is manipulation. How does a jealous person manipulate? A jealous person controls a group's perception of you, the gifted person, by possessing a group's opinion by claiming you are